Hello, and welcome to another episode of Good Time Gal. I am your host, Caitlin Peluffo. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week's guest is another one of my roommates. Holy hell, it's Chloe Radcliffe, everybody. She's not just a roommate, but also a very dear friend. I was super happy to have her on. She's great. This is fun. We get to talk about the history of this apartment a little bit. I get to know her a little bit better. She's a big hippie. I always knew that, but now I really know. It's great. We had a lot of fun. She is on Instagram and Twitter at chloe.radcliffe, exactly how it sounds. And she is currently a writer for the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So tune into Jimmy Fallon, you might catch Chloe Radcliffe. Very exciting. But as for this episode, please enjoy it. Please follow the pod at Good Time Gal Pod on Instagram, and follow me everywhere at Caitlin Peluffo, Instagram, Twitter, wherever the hell you want. And rate, review, subscribe, and mostly tell a friend. That's the best way podcasts get spread, you know? Kind of like herpes. I don't know. Is that how you get herpes? I'm not. We're just okay. So please listen to the episode. Moving on, and enjoy it, because this was a lot of fun to do. And stay safe out there, and don't get herpes, however that's contracted. I love you. Bye. Oh, we're recording.
Oh, hello.
Hello. This is very exciting. We've got roommate number 2.
Roommates. And we're sitting in the bedroom that I slept in for a year.
Yeah, with a dead man's body right next door.
Next door. What's
Very
up,
fun.
Sean? Hey, we're still thinking about you.
Memories.
Woo!
I'm so glad that smell is gone.
Yeah, they gutted the whole apartment.
That's good.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's a cheery podcast. Yeah. We're starting off with death and despair. There's only one way to go, and that's up.
To heaven.
To heaven.
Because he was a Catholic boy.
Oh, Sean. We miss you, Sean. I've never met Sean. I'm sure he's very nice.
We hated him.
Oh, just kidding. Fuck
Which
you,
makes
Sean.
it so much more complicated, because we were like, yeah, we really didn't like living next to him.
Yeah.
But also that didn't mean we didn't want him to not be living.
Yes, we wanted him to live somewhere else.
Right.
Yes, be alive in a different apartment.
Yeah.
Why was he a dick? Let's get into it. Why
all
was
right.
Sean an asshole, and why are we grateful he's dead? Come on.
He was a dog boarder and dog trainer? ? He trained dogs in the backyard a lot.
Okay.
I assume that was. I assume people were paying him to train their dogs while they were boarding with him.
All right.
And he was so mean to the dogs. Like, so we would hear him in the backyard, because his backyard was right out of our window.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like cruel to these dogs. He was a very bad dog trainer.
Oh.
The dogs clearly didn't know commands.
Oh,
and he would freak out at them and hit them
No.
and yell at them and whatever when they didn't obey their commands. So the only reasons that the dogs obeyed him was because they were scared of him.
Yikes.
His apartment, way before his own dead body was rotting in the apartment, his apartment smelled really, really bad, because he would have like 9 dogs boarded in there, and
Wow.
he didn't. It seemed as though he did not really fully take good care of them. One time, this was before I lived here, when it was my cousins who were living here, they found a tiny, I think it was a French bulldog, that had wriggled under. This was the middle of the winter. This was in January.
Mm-hmm.
And they noticed movement in their backyard, and they saw that there was an animal out there, and they weren't sure what it was, and they went out to the backyard and found a little French bulldog.
Oh my God.
And they put together that it must have come from that he must have left it out. He must have shut the door, not realized that it was outside, and it wriggled under the fence to our backyard. And they walked it over to his front door. They knocked at his front door, and he like angrily took it back.
What?
And like didn't seem. I think like out of embarrassment, out of like.
But still, you guys just saved him a lawsuit.
Right. So doesn't seem we weren't fans.
No. Good riddance.
Yeah.
But unfortunately.
Right.
Good riddance?
And he had broken up with his girlfriend about a month before. Or his girlfriend had left. His girlfriend was living with him in the apartment, and she had left. And it seemed that there was like it was a tense leaving. A few people had like seen her in various stages of the leaving, and it seemed bad. And then the dog smell got very bad for about a month, and all of us have sort of noticed like, oh, like I walked by and his door smelled really, really bad. But while he like opened
the door. Yeah.
And we were like, ooh, maybe it's gotten bad since the girlfriend left, and then it got bad.
And then it got the worst it could possibly get.
Yeah, then it got really, really bad.
Oh, do you know how he killed himself?
He hung himself.
Yikes. Okay. I thought maybe it would be a fun tale. Like maybe the dogs did they eat his body?
No, they didn't.
Damn it. I want some revenge for these dogs.
Yeah, I know. The dogs were all alive when his body was found.
Good.
And I talk about this on stage, but I don't talk about the dogs. And I talk about like, I set it up like there's nothing funny about his death, that it's just sad and weird and grim. There are funny things that have to do with his death, and those are what I'm going to talk about. And then I go into the other things that I have not yet said. For anybody listening who's like,
he hung himself.
Yeah, how do you talk about what you just talked about on stage? But I have never. I don't think there's any way to talk about the dogs. So there were 9 dogs in the apartment when he was found, and they were all alive when he was found. We don't know. We don't know. We have no idea what happened to the dogs since.
Yeah.
The 3 dogs that were out of cages. There were 7. There were 3 dogs that were out of cages, and those were his 3 dogs. And then the other 4 dogs were in cages. So they were. So my personal theory is that the dogs that would have eaten him didn't have access, and the dogs that had access are the ones that are less inclined to.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you trained him that, don't eat me. Huh?
Yeah.
Maybe he is a good trainer after all.
Or they're just still scared of him for a whole new reason. Yeah, no, it's just, so it's really, anyway, but on stage there's like, there's nothing funny. Even though the dogs survived, there's just nothing funny about the dogs.
Well, maybe it's an all dogs go to heaven situation. I don't know. Well, bye, Sean. Okay.
Better life next time.
Yeah, maybe next time around he'll realize my dad is getting into dog training, and he
yes, natural pivot.
Yes. I told you from the beginning I'm a very good host. I know how to do these things naturally.
Great.
It's effort. It's like breathing to me. You know what I mean? But my dad is getting into dog training. And
breathe in, dead man. Breathe out, my dad.
My dad, who is very much alive.
Great. Dog training.
And he just watches like a shit ton of Caesar Milan. And that's how he is. And now he's trying to go to Petco.
Dog training.
Yes. But he has this dog that he treats like a child.
Yes, they have a dog. Do they have a dog?
Yeah, they have a dog.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryder. And Ryder gets treated better than I think we ever were.
For sure.
No, I'm just joking. My family listens to this.
And I said for sure with no expertise at all. So anyway, continue.
No. They were very good parents. But my dad dotes on this dog like it is a piece of heaven. Like Ryder has it made in the shade. Like he has a special cart just for his dog. It's like a sidecar cart. For this bike he used to have, and now he has a front cart where he straps it to his chest, and they go bike riding together.
Wow.
He has a paddle boat, and he made a special bed for the dog in the back. With
on a paddle boat, like one of the big square things where you push away with your feet.
Yeah, but he does it where it's a rowing one, so it's a rowboat, but it's shaped like a paddle boat. It's very intricate. Gary loves Ryder more than Air, I think.
Okay.
Yes, so very different from Sean, I would say.
Yes.
But he also only has the one dog, and he gets paid no money for it. And they do like running courses, like agility courses.
Oh, he's gonna be a show dog.
No.
He's going to win some awards.
This dog is a little chubby.
Okay.
Not very speedy.
Okay.
And is only in it for the food.
Oh, well, this sounds like a dog that's going to win an award.
Yeah, it's a lot. He's very much like my father.
Great.
In it for the food. Doesn't really care.
Great.
Yeah, but my dad, there's this one video of him. They're running the course. They're going up the ladders, down the ladders. around, and then it gets to the tube, and it's like a tunnel that these dogs walk through, and the dog goes in, and then my dad runs, and he looks for him, and the dog just never comes out.
Does he come out the other end?
No,
He just sits in there.
He just sits in there. He's having a nice time. It's like,
it's
oh,
his little cave.
Shade. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Wait, did your dad buy all of that equipment?
No. He took classes.
Oh.
Yeah, he took special classes in order to train his dog to go through a dog course.
What an incredible scam.
Yes.
That's a great way to rip people off.
Well,
You want your dog to go through an obstacle course? Pony up $300 and you can use our tube for jack shit.
Yeah. That's pretty much. Well, I shouldn't say that. My dad feels very accomplished.
Gary, you. It's great. You did not waste your money, and Ryder is a perfect dog.
Yes, he's an angel. An angel who barks. Oh, it's fine. I'm fine. I feel loved and seen. Okay. Yeah. Did you grow up with dogs?
I grew up with a dog. Yeah, a big dog.
And where did you grow up?
In Minnesota. Yeah.
With
about an hour outside of that. With Becky. Oh, the Baxter.
The Baxter. Becky is Chloe's mom, and she is a very big supporter, and she knows what Gentleman's Quarterly is. That's basically all I know about Becky. She's great.
I want to be in GQ.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke for people who watched Something Good. So if you didn't, well, saddle up, loser, because I'm not going to explain it.
Yeah, and it's online still.
Yeah, so go watch it.
Something Good on YouTube. Anyway, yeah, okay, so growing up with Becky. Now, you sounded like, from what I know about you, a little bit of a hippie. Would I?
I was like, what's the word that's about to come out?
Yeah.
I can think of a lot of words.
Dirty hippie? What was that like? What was your family unit?
Family unit was like primarily just my mom and I. I'm an only child. And she and my dad split up when I was 2. My dad would come and visit Minnesota like once a month-ish. So he was in my life a lot.
Yeah.
I found, oh my God, I just separately have to show you pictures. Not any of you podcast listeners.
Yeah.
I found a book this last time I was home that's called Moms and Dads. I made it when I was probably 7. And it's like one of those little blank books that you can fill in yourself, whatever. And you open it and it says, some dads are hard. Some dads leave. My dad is hard. My dad leaves. And then it shows me, and it's like a stick figure of me waiting, and it's listed waiting for my dad. And I'm like half smiling. And then he's here and I'm big smile. And then my dad is also here, and then the next page is my dad is packing, and it's a stick figure of my dad with a suitcase, and I'm like starting to cry in the corner. And then on the airplane, and he's on the airplane, and I'm crying on the ground. And then I think it like goes on for a little while. And then at the end, it's like, even though my dad leaves, I know he still loves me. Even though my dad is hard, there is no other dad like him, or something like that. Like,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
So anyway, I was processing some emotions at age 7. I love my dad very much.
Lord.
And my aunt lived with us for a while, but but primarily it was my mom and I.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was hippie. It was like we went to a psychic as a like little family. We would go see Christopher, and we would go to this like crystal shop, which now is like, you make fun in Brooklyn. It's like the witch shops, and they're like, because it feels so like commercialized or trendy. It feels so like, sure, oh, you're fucking witches. Great. Did you see that on Instagram? Cool. How'd you find out about amethyst?
Yes, people just started making fun of witches and crystal shops. That's brand new.
Yeah. Nobody's this witch thing. It's pretty. But so like this now it feels so like trendy. But then it was like, I don't know, you're just like the weirdos of South Minneapolis, and we lived way farther out of the city. But we would go to this crystal shop and then like go into the back, and there was like a tarot reading corner, and Christopher would read tarot and would like commune with spiritual level, whatever. And anyway, whatever. And we would ask him questions and yada yada. So anyway, I like grew with the family psychic. We grew up believing in reincarnation.
Was Christopher ever right?
I think, yeah. I mean, like, basically he would function sort of similarly to a therapist. So like, it wasn't quite I don't think for me he ever made like concrete predictions. He wasn't like, tomorrow you will whatever.
Yeah.
But it was basically, I don't know what questions I asked him. I actually have some of those recorded. I should go back and listen.
When you were little and you were just like, is my dad ever coming back?
Yeah, what was I asking? Anyway, so.
Is my dad hard?
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that, reincarnation, like essential oils. Before it was like pyramid schemey, just when it was like, here, whatever.
Now, because of that, was your mom like loose with raising you, or was she like very on top of you, do your schoolwork, this?
I think it was, my mom and I actually just talked about this when we were back. This is maybe not funny, but she...
No, that airplane story with your dad was hilarious.
Yeah, it cracked me, right.
And then we also talked about your dead neighbor, so... Anything goes.
It's a real barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
This episode.
We're just a chuckle fest.
She would like set very clear boundaries and tell me why she was setting those clear boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And her opinion was always like, I think the boundary should be like fairly reasonable, and like I should have a reasonable reason for them. And so we were talking, like, I didn't really rebel, because I think for the most part her boundaries I felt were fairly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a very like straight A's kid.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like my mom ever pressured me to be a straight A's kid.
Yeah, that's just what you enjoyed? Like
yeah.
Reading and writing books?
Yeah,
like a nerd?
I was just a little fucking dweeb. And like she was pretty lax with curfew. She would set a curfew and then I would break it. But I feel like the curfew would be like midnight and I would come home at like 12:45 or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was never mad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was not a rebel at all, but I think it's because I felt fairly comfortable. I didn't really feel like I had a lot to rebel against. Even though looking back, like, you had so many opportunities, kid. Come on.
Well, when we first started hanging out, like, more consistently, I was like, oh, Chloe seems like she was so cool in high school. And then I brought that up to you and you laughed in my face. Please.
It's funny because I think I'm like friendly. I like know how to make friends very easily and make people feel comfortable very quickly. And I think I'm like good looking enough that people are like, you must have had a ton of friends in high school. And I did have friends, but it was like, we were scraping bottom of the barrel social rung people. Like I was like, not even the cool kids in marching band. I was like,
no,
right? Like that's where I was. Maybe I wasn't the biggest dork in marching band, but I was like, I was middle rung marching band. So
that's tough. What'd you play?
Clarinet, of course.
That'll do it.
Yep. And I was first chair in the honor band 2 years running. So I was a fairly good clarinet player. But not that anybody cares.
She found a way to brag about it. It was middle rung marching band, but first chair in the clarinet. Good for you. No boyfriends in high school? Because marching band, according to American Pie, they're putting flutes in their pussies.
Right.
Is that happening in Minneapolis marching band?
Not in Minneapolis marching band. In Minneapolis theater, a little bit more, but not me. I did have two, like, I had a boyfriend, I had a boyfriend. That's not true. I had a high school boyfriend. We never did anything more than make out, and we didn't even make out that much, which is why I'm a little hesitant to be like, he was my boyfriend. But like, we said we were boyfriend and girlfriend for like 10 months. I like went up to his family's cabin as his girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
We just barely ever did anything. Yeah, man, I wish I had sex in high school. What a fucking bummer.
No sex in high school.
Yeah.
Did you party at all?
No, I went to one. I remember my first this is a drinking party.
Oh.
And it was maybe it was the summer after junior year. I think it was the summer after senior year, but maybe it was after junior year. And somebody it had to be after junior year because Travis P. Nelson was a year older than me and offered me a beer, and I like sipped it a little bit and I was like, I'm cool because Travis offered me a beer, but it's gross, but I'm drinking it. And I can't imagine I finished it because I drove.
Yeah.
And then the next time I drank was the summer after my senior year, and I also drove that time, and I did get drunk. So I have
bad
girl. I
girl.
have a bad habit. I have driven drunk a lot in my life, and I hope my mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, Becky's listening to this.
No,
She's gonna get out her crystals and talk to Christopher about you.
I know. Yeah, no, I don't anymore, but it was a bad habit.
Okay, so the first time you really got drunk was after senior year of high school, correct?
Yes, the summer between high school and college.
And who did you get drunk with?
My theater friends. And they
never accepted by the marching band.
No, certainly not. My like speech and debate. The little friend group who overlapped between theater and speech and debate, which I also did, of course. I couldn't do mock trial or knowledge bowl because they conflicted with speech.
Wow, your level of dorkiness just keeps getting higher and higher.
Oh,
it's impressive.
It's in there.
But it's beautiful. Look at where you are now.
Thank you.
You know? You're sharing this beautiful apartment with 3 other people.
Yep. I have on work Zooms, I have like tried to avoid showing them how big and gorgeous the apartment is because I feel like it's like a little like meh. And I was telling Jeff that, my boyfriend, and he was like, "Yeah, but does your work know that you share it with 3 other people?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, right. Maybe I can show them."
Yeah.
It's fine.
The first time you were drinking,
yes.
You got drunk and you drove home. And you were with
I didn't drive home drunk, but I did repark my car. I got really paranoid because somebody's parent came home. I can't remember. Whatever it was, I like panicked and was like, I need to move my car from in front of this house. And so drunk, at age 17, I drove my car probably around the block and reparked it. And that was, so it's like not a lot, but enough that like I could have fucked something up.
Yeah.
And I think, and also like adrenaline coursing through your veins, you like hit the sober button fairly quickly. But
yeah. What were you guys doing?
we were just in somebody's parents' basement.
And what were you drinking?
Bacardi 151.
Gross.
Isn't that insane? That is
That's
the first thing. I drank that straight.
insane.
I did a pull out of the bottle, and I was like, I guess this is what alcohol is.
Oh, no.
And from then on, my like party trick was that I would take shots without chasers. No, I mean, that's not what is that, a party trick? No, but like, very cool. But like,
look at me taking this tequila all alone.
wow. Are you impressed, boys?
Well, it's almost like the Eiffel Tower trick you would do.
Now my mom really cannot listen
No,
to this
we
podcast.
are telling this part. Apparently, Chloe's way of getting a boy's attention back in the day was to be like, I'm pretty hip. I'm hanging out with this group of people. I'm kind of flirting, and who knows what an Eiffel Tower is.
Well, it wasn't like out of the blue like that, but I would like slip in a reference to an Eiffel Tower, which is in like freshman year of college, running in like a fairly good kid group.
Yeah.
The boys would be like, "Oh, I would be like, oh, are we gonna Eiffel Tower later or whatever the fuck? How did I say it? How did I say it that felt anything better than what I just said?
I don't think it was anything
I'm
better
sure
than what
it wasn't.
I'm sure their looks were not like, ooh, they were more like, what?
Yeah, is she okay?
What happened? We were talking about flowers.
I think I was a very like, I'm not like other girls.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm down with it.
Yeah. Like I'm one of the guys I can joke around.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, oh boy.
Oh, I
that
love
was
it.
an embarrassing moment.
No.
In my life.
I love that you mentioned it to your boyfriend. He was like, what? Jeff, who has been on this podcast, he was a few episodes ago, he grew up in the woods, is also our roommate, and was very surprised to know that was her party trick.
That was my like fun little thing. You know, I mean, like, so it was like I would like take a shot without a chaser. I think like it's not like I could do that better than anybody else. I just like had more tolerance for that.
Yeah.
And I would tell myself the story that it's because I started drinking with Bacardi 151.
I mean, it's lighter fluid.
It's insane. Yeah, it's
light
horrible.
it on
it's awful.
fire
It's awful.
for tricks.
It's so bad.
Oh, God.
Have you ever done the Eiffel Tower? Or I'm sorry,
not yet, but
the Statue of Liberty shot. That's
what's
what I meant.
that?
Statue of Liberty shot.
The Eiffel Tower shot.
I know, the Eiffel Tower shot would be very funny.
Oh, God, it's just a mudslide. Oh, sorry. Continue.
A Statue of Liberty shot where you dunk your index finger in more than 100 proof alcohol, And that's what you're taking in the shot. And somebody lights your finger on fire and you take the shot and then you blow your finger out.
No.
Yes, I've done it a couple times.
What?
Woo, I'm so cool. I'm not like other girls.
Chloe.
Wow. Who wants to fuck me? Nobody. Yeah.
Doesn't that burn you?
It doesn't until you do it like 3 times on the same finger.
Oh, okay.
But no, the first couple times. Also, your finger is on fire, and so but like your finger, it hasn't gotten down to your skin at this point. It's just burning the alcohol.
How did you learn this trick?
At some party like people were just doing it at a party. But it's also you impulsively shake your finger out because you can't.
Yeah, your
keep
finger's on
your
fire.
finger's on
That's
fire.
insane.
Yeah. It just like looks fun for a second.
Oh boy. Okay, so you get drunk in a basement.
It's so funny because the narrative that I have of college is that I didn't party enough and I didn't kiss enough boys. I didn't whatever. I didn't because I competed in college speech, and so we were traveling for 3 weeks a year, or 3 weeks a month.
Oh, okay.
And so
it's like you were really getting around there, weren't you?
No, 3 weeks a month, and so like the one weekend that we would have at home, I would like try and like squeeze in on my partying, but
yeah.
I feel like I didn't do enough and I would have been better off if whatever. And now I'm like, you're down the Statue of Liberty shot as I'm like chain smoking out of a pack.
Yeah, reminiscing about Eiffel Tower days.
Yeah, right.
You were great.
Maybe I just like tried very hard to make up for that. Like maybe like that's why I did some of this shit was I would be at a party and be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that because I haven't partied enough.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making up for lost time. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
So in college, nothing changed? Like you're still very academic focused.
Super. Yeah. I was like a very good student. Now
on these,
I was the class speaker. I was not the valedictorian, but the commencement speaker.
Look at you, Chloe. Another one. Oh God, was it a good speech?
I think so. I had a lot of people tell me it was a really good speech. I have had people in college in my college class. Not like now, but for a couple years after, if I would run into people, I like a few times had people be like, "That was such a good speech," and I was like, "Yeah, well, you're very good at this."
You want to do shots?
Yeah, well, you guys.
I don't need a chaser.
You want to kiss me? Anybody? You feel like kissing me?
So did you lost your virginity in college?
Yes, the summer after freshman year.
Okay, was it eventful? Anything good?
No, it wasn't good. It's funny. It was with a guy who wound up being like super awful in the relationship, but was very good. He was the kind of like hyper attentive that turns into possessive, and at first you're like, oh my God, this guy's so caring. And he remembers things about me and he, is always there when I want to talk and whatever. And then like,
turns out he's just always there.
Yeah. A few months later, you're like, I don't want to be dating you anymore.
Yeah. When you lost your virginity, were you drunk or sober?
Sober, for sure, sober.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. No, I was like, it was like a thing for me, which is why. So I was like, I don't want to be drunk. I waited. This is funny. After my first blowjob, so he was my first blowjob. I researched. I read Cosmo articles. I asked one of my friends at the time. I asked Emily.
How to give a blowjob?
Or like, what are your tips for it? And her tip was, I don't want to say this. Your
no,
you
got to say it.
Well, I'm very sorry.
Please.
Louise and Gary, just fast forward 15 seconds from here. She was like, she gave me 2 tips. She was like, spend most of your time at the tip. And then whenever you want him to come, like whenever you feel ready for it to be over, move your mouth all the way down and like just do like 1 or 2 like big pumps on the whole dick and he will come. And
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
This is making me uncomfortable.
And then she said, yep. Oh, I was 18. And then she said, and she was like, and when he starts to come, start swallowing and don't stop swallowing. Just like keep mechanically moving your throat. And she was like, and then you won't notice it. Then you will be able to swallow and you won't notice it. And that is actually, I like that one I kept with me for many, many, many years. I don't think I don't know. I'm not gonna say this.
Nope,
Your
too
parents.
late.
No.
You gotta say it.
I just don't feel like I've ever like had like my mouth fill up and then have to be like, like, because Emily taught me, you start swallowing and you don't stop swallowing.
Good job, Emily. You're saving lives here. You know, at least a gag reflex. You're saving a gag reflex.
Like I knew to like use two hands in opposite directions from a Cosmo article, and I remember Joe, my first boyfriend, being like, "How do you know how to do that?" And I was like, "I'm just so good." Like
I just imagine you sitting with Emily.
I was like a nerd about giving my first blowjob.
She's teaching you these tips, and you have like a fucking notepad. And you're like, okay, yes, okay.
I will create a diagram of this.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, and in the footnotes, I see here we gotta. Oh, Chloe, that's great. It sounded like it went off without a hitch.
It was, I think it went fine. And then I remember laying on his chest and saying, because we were driving. He lived in Illinois. He was a long distance boyfriend, which is a mistake. Whatever. You
hear that, people? If you're in a long distance relationship, get out of it.
It's a mistake.
You're making a huge mistake.
He lived he was like, it was the summer and he was staying at his parents' house, but then we were going to drive down to his college house. And so we had like a 2.5 hour drive the next day, and I laid on his chest and very earnestly said, "I don't think I'm ready for Roadhead yet." And he like laughed and was like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like, no, you're not gonna give me Roadhead.
Oh, yeah. That's so sweet.
Yeah. So he was like, I was very earnest and
eager to please.
Yep. Nerdy, eager to please. And I did give him Roadhead a couple times, and it's horrible. I hate Roadhead. Roadhead is the fucking worst. Why are we spending so much time on this talking about my mouth on a penis? Anyway.
Okay. Woo! Let's go back to talking about the dead guy next door. Woo! Sean, anyway. You ever do Roadhead? Okay. So you're in college making up for. Did you do? I in college was very bad at being drunk. Were you good at being drunk, or were you like waking up with hangovers?
I was so terrified. This is like very much in line with my character. I was so scared of being hungover because all I had heard was people be like, "Oh, you wake up with a hangover and you just want to die." And I was like, "What is like? It sounds horrible." And so for the first 2.5 years of college, I would come home after a party drunk, and I would sit in my bed for as long as I needed. I had like a huge Nalgene, one of those old, or the like Camelback with the nipples that you bite. And you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Everything you say to me now is sexual.
Yeah, well, you bite the nipple, the water comes out.
Yeah, woo! And then you rotate your hands opposite directions.
To get the lid off.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
You get it off. No, so I would drink. My rule was drink water until you think you're going to puke water, because either you do puke and then you get all the alcohol out of you, or you go to sleep without puking and you have so much water in you that you aren't hungover the next day. And it works like that. Yeah. The strategy of drink water until you think you're going to puke water, let me tell you, prevents a hangover. And I would like drink an entire one of those Camelbacks, whatever. I remember like sitting, like swaying in my bed and being like, have to stay up, must be up, whatever. And I was never hungover until January of my junior year. And then I was like, and I was like, this is horrible, but I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Did you ever embarrass yourself in front of your friends?
Drinking? Yeah, I'm sure I must have.
I want to know what's embarrassing to you.
Me. I know. I'm like trying to think of what I'm sure I was embarrassed all the time, but I don't know. There's like a moment that makes me cringe, but it's not in front of friends.
What is that?
It's it was my second foray into cheating, and yeah, I started cheating in high school. That's like always been the bad thing about me, and my boyfriend knows about everything, and it's fine. Yeah, I haven't cheated on him.
Knock on wood.
I love you very much, Jeff. No, that's always like been the like outlet. Like I haven't ever. It's not like I get like too drunk. I've blacked out maybe like twice in my whole life. I don't really do drugs. I don't really like whatever. But that's the bad thing. Anyway, second foray into cheating, and we like made out at the party, and he walked me back to my dorm, and then it was winter, and we stood in the snow outside of my dorm room, and I sent him home. He was like, if we don't want to go back to your room, I have a car. He was like from a different school. He was like, we can go to my truck.
Oh,
and right,
wonderful,
romantic.
Roadhead, stationary roadhead.
Woo. And I like turned him away. I just like feel the regret of like I owed him. You know, it's the like you flirted with him, you made out with him, you let him back to your apartment, so it's not okay, or your dorm, so it's not okay for you to then decide no. But I did decide no. I was thinking yesterday, I'm amazed I've never gotten assaulted. I've told so many men, I've like been a tease like that so many times.
Yeah.
And no, everybody's always been like very disappointed but fine. I'm amazed. I really happened to pick the ones that weren't violent.
Yeah, you have the non-violent radar. That's great. The non-rapey radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only person who
Yep.
has it.
Yep. I don't know what it is. Anyway.
Yeah, or you're extremely lucky. Correct.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have like one specific like, oh, that was an embarrassing thing at a college party. I'm sure it will come to me.
As an adult?
As an adult, many things.
Oh, please.
Wait, hold on. I wrote a list of things that I...
What a fucking nerd. You are such a nerd. I wrote a list for your podcast?
Okay, ready this. I like one... I mean, I have a story that I tell on stage about getting incredibly drunk at one of my exes, at my like longest term exes, a family wedding, his brother's wedding. And I got super, super drunk and fell on stage with the band. I like had gotten up on stage with the band, and it was a very low stage, so it wasn't like super, super visible. In the bit on stage, I make it sound like I was like the center of attention. I wasn't, but the first like 10 people for sure were like, what the fuck?
What were you doing on stage?
I was shaking the tambourine. I don't honestly know how I got from shaking the tambourine. I don't know how I got from. I was pissed at him because he was not paying attention to me at all. I didn't like anybody at the wedding. I didn't like his friends. I thought his family was like fine, but not like there was nobody at the wedding who I wanted to hang out with. I had basically written his best man speech, and he had gotten all the credit for like everybody, and it was an amazing speech.
Yeah.
And
if college is any note,
I'm a 2-time national champion in competitive speech. So anyway, whatever. I got super, super drunk. And he like still didn't pay. He just like didn't. He wasn't trying to be an asshole. He just like wasn't thinking about me. He was like having fun being the second in command to his brother. And I was like flirting with one of his friends. It's my go-to.
Really?
That's the only thing that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
It's the best drug in the world. Flirting is a high that you can't get anywhere else. Sorry, Jeff. I really do believe that. And then I don't know how I transitioned from dancing with that guy to shaking the tambourine with the band. I don't know how that happened. I assume the band like invited me. How did
I mean, no way. You went up there and you were just like, I'm gonna shake this tambourine.
Yeah, how did I do that? I do not remember that transition. Anyway, then I fell. And I'm sure everyone saw my pussy. And
were you wearing underwear?
Yeah, for sure. But like, I'm sure a thong. Oh, I actually may have been wearing Spanx, knowing the dress that I was wearing. I was probably wearing Spanx. It was probably fine.
Thank goodness. So they probably thought they saw your pussy.
Yes,
but it was Spanx.
Yeah, right.
Great.
And don't remember anything after that fall. Then I woke up the next morning. I woke up in the middle of the night in the hotel room alone without my boyfriend, and I had like a weird feeling. Oh, I was using toilet paper to blot my own vomit out of the carpet. And because even when I'm drunk, I'm like a good little kid. I'm like, I gotta clean up after myself. And I remember having a weird feeling on my face. I don't say this part in the bit because I don't know how to talk about it. I remember being like, what's wrong with my face? And I walked over to the bathroom to get more to throw away the vomit toilet paper and get more. And I looked up and realized that I was actively sobbing, but I was so drunk that I like couldn't connect what was going on. And I had, like huge makeup smears. And I am in the middle of crying and like had to see myself in the mirror to be like, oh, that's what's going on. And the next morning, we had parked his car, and we'd left all of our like change of clothes in his car, in my boyfriend's car, which we had left at the venue, which was about a mile walk from the hotel.
Oh no.
And we had just taken a cab to the hotel last night, and so all I had was my party dress and heels, and my like pretty short party dress, and I put it on, it's sopping wet, and I was like, what happened? And I wasn't even hungover because I had thrown up so much, and he said that I had just flat out fallen in a puddle. It had been raining the night before, and I had just like gone down into a puddle, and so my dress was dripping. And I just had to walk a mile back to this fucking post-wedding brunch in a sopping wet dress. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, that's incredible.
He's an angel, and he shouldn't have had to put up with that. Although he should have paid attention to me. So.
He should have given you a little bit of credit for that #1 in America debate captain speech you got for free. Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway, that's an embarrassing moment.
Yeah, no, I would say that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Did the family know? Were they
I don't think
embarrassed for you?
No. I think there were like a few of his friends that were in that like first time people who saw. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm sure the family was embarrassed for me when I fell in a puddle as we were getting out of the cab. But I have no memory of that, and nobody said anything. So, because they're from Wisconsin, so they'll never bring it up.
Good. They'll just never make eye contact with you again.
Right. I think, and the brother and sister-in-law that were getting married hated me, and I hated them. So I'm sure they like knew about it, but just chalked it up to like, we hate Chloe, and of course she behaved like this. Like I don't think they knew details, and I think they just like knew I was a drunk mess.
Why did they hate you?
I think we both thought the other was assholes, and in retrospect, I think both parties behaved like assholes. Like I'm like they were very mean, and they are dicks in a lot of ways. Except also when I like now years with retrospect, I'm like, oh, I was a real dick back in many ways. So I think it just really built on itself.
Yeah, and then
and also I like one time I'm like really going off track from the whatever.
Well, you got a list. We'll go back to the list in a minute. Go ahead, finish.
No, I one time I like was right after they got engaged. This is such here's an embarrassing story that has nothing to do with alcohol. I was an asshole. They had just gotten engaged, and we were over at their like a big group, like 15 people were over at their house. And these parties would immediately segregate into men and women, and the women in the group I just found so like I also was like 6 or 7 years younger than most of the people in the group. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't give a shit about your fucking patio flagstones. Like, I don't, like, they were the age where we are now, where it's like, we want to fix up the backyard and we want to whatever.
We gotta
like,
get some mulch.
Right. But like 6 or 7 years ago, it's like, shut the fuck up. And so I was hanging out with the women because I was supposed to. And they were all talking about getting engaged and having babies and whatever. And I like was like openly, loudly talking about how marriage is a sham and how it's like, how like I never want to get married and I hate that. And that is like very clearly my discomfort in the relationship. And like everybody in that group is like, we're all partnered up. And like, if we're not engaged yet, we're going to be. And like, we're all planning our wedding.
Yeah.
And I knew implicitly already that even though we wouldn't break up for years, that I didn't want to marry that guy and wanted to break up with that guy. And so it was clearly like my discomfort with the relationship that like exploded in this horrible pressure venting to his friends' wives. And that was a very bad. And that like I was like I still am embarrassed about that.
Yeah, but that's also I feel like that's also being young.
It's for sure it's being young. Yes, for sure.
Forgive yourself, Chloe. It's just you being young and you being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I think it is all of that. And like not knowing how to identify like, oh yeah, I'm upset about something else and it's coming out here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I see ya. It's okay.
We
all do stupid shit.
Thank you.
I mean.
Yep.
What's the second one on that list? I still can't believe you wrote a list. No, it's beautiful. Never change. Okay? Except for change. I'm glad you changed from that other person. I'm glad this Chloe is great.
Okay. I'll see how I am now. This is the same boyfriend. We were together for almost 4 years, so we have plenty.
What was his name? Which one was this?
This was Jeff number 2.
Okay, yes.
I'm currently on Jeff number 3.
Yes. She likes a Jeff.
Yep, I love a Jeff. Yeah, that was new big Jeff. There was old small Jeff and then new big Jeff, but he was not new after, we dated for 3.5 years. And then I'm on current medium Jeff.
Yes. Medium he is.
And medium he is. In all ways except his heart, which is wonderful. Okay.
I'll make this the snippet and send it right to him.
Aw, thank you. I
Like,
should
"You're
have maybe I
Jeff
should have
number
said
3.
in all ways except his dick, which is anyway, I'm not
You
gonna
would probably be more thankful for that part.
Okay, great.
Instead of the heart. Who gives a shit about his heart? Talk about his dick.
Well, babe, I hope you never listen.
He won't.
Jeff number 2 and I went to we worked at Target headquarters together, and we worked in the beverages department, and we weren't directly on liquor, but there was a liquor team, and we would like be invited to liquor happy hours, which were vendor funded. And so we would go to these these insane happy hours that had just like a table of whatever awful liqueur they're like trying to push on, so it's like this one was it was literally it looked like iridescent nail polish in a huge liquor bottle.
Yeah.
Like purple lavender that would turn into blue, like hologram. It was like, it like looks like something you should not put in your body. And
is that Hennessy or Hypnotic?
No. It's not a name that I would ever remember. I would recognize the bottle, but it's not a name that I've ever heard of before or since.
I had Hypnotic one time, and I was like,
Maybe
I
I'll look
get
up
it.
Hypnotic. No, I don't think it is.
It's delicious. It tastes like candy. It was like cotton candy. You don't have to look it up. Nope. Don't worry about it.
Whatever. I don't think it's Hypnotic. Anyway, so they had wine and then drinks made with whatever the fuck that stuff was, and I had driven in that night because I knew I was still living with my mom at the time. This was early in Jeff and I dating. Jeff lived in Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. Jeff lived by himself, so I would like stay at his place a lot, but I was still lived with my mom 45 minutes outside of the city, and the bus ends at 6 back to Prior Lake, so I would drive in on the nights of happy hours and then just like manage to not, sober up by the time I wanted to, or I guess go to Jeff's. That's what it was. Yeah. And so that was the plan that night. And Jeff was sober enough by the end of the happy hour to drive my car, and we gave people rides home. So we drove out of the city into a suburb. I was blackout at this point. I do not remember giving the people the rides home. I remember walking to my car in the city, and that's where it cuts out. Gave people rides home, and on the way back in, on the exit into our neighborhood, or like where we were about to go home, all of a sudden, out of the blue, like my first memory is the realization that I'm about to puke and there's nothing that I can do to stop it.
Oh, no.
And which means that I just like wasn't conscious enough before to be like, hey, pull over, I'm gonna puke on the side of the road. It was the winter. It was the first polar vortex.
Oh, okay.
This was years ago.
Not puking weather.
Not puking weather. And I still had old paper maps in this was my old car, and I pulled paper maps out and I puked into the paper maps. And he pulled over when I started puking, and we just like threw the maps out onto the side of the road. And some had gotten on me or the car or whatever, but I had gotten most of it. And he said, "Are you going to puke again?" And I was like, "Nope, I think I'm good." And sure as shit, 100 feet later, I just start projectile vomiting. But at this one, I'm out of paper maps. It's my own car. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I start projectile vomiting all over the passenger seat. And this is... And he like tried to pull over, but it was like too late. I've got shit all over me. And I was like wearing my giant puffy sleeping bag coat that you wear in Minnesota winters in polar vortex. And the car, whatever. So hold on. So he was like, he pulled over again, and it was too late, and we couldn't, and whatever. And he drives me home, or drives back to his place. This was early in us dating. I'm trying to think. I can't remember when. This was probably like 4 months into us being together. This was not.
And he was like, I'm in.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm hooked on this.
Yeah, how?
Violent puker.
He's an angel. He really is a wonderful, wonderful person, and we shouldn't have dated for that long. He parked my car, and he brought me inside, and I remember being like, "What are you doing to take care of the car?" And he was like, "We can't take care of the car. Like, I don't know what you want me to do." it's, I mean, I think it was like -10 or -15 outside.
God.
Like, it's really, really cold. Parks my car. He gets me inside. He takes all of my clothes off. He puts all of my clothes he just like takes my jacket and takes my like blazer and my work pants and whatever, because we were like office professional at that point. And I was like, Matt, I was like, don't put my coat in the washing machine. And he was like, I'm putting your coat in the, this was a down North Face. And I was like, yes, it'll ruin the down fill or whatever. He's like, I'm putting your goddamn coat in the goddamn washing machine. And he just put me in the shower naked. And I remember sort of being conscious of like, wow, like this is a little more vulnerable than we would normally be at this point. But I'm so drunk that like I don't know what to do. I'm like washing shit out. I go to sleep. He goes in. Did he call in sick for? No, we were dating in secret for a year. I must have woken up, called in sick, and then gone in at, I went into at like 10 or something. Deeply hungover. Walked back the next afternoon, tried to scrape. So I've got vomit frozen to the, like to the footwell, the entire footwell, that like old, like, velvety footwell material. Vomit is caked in there and it's frozen ice solid. It's in the like door drawer. It's in, and this was an old enough car that the gear shift was had like an openness to it. Yeah. And so there was vomit inside the gear shift. A lot of it. It was all over. It was all over the middle console. Frozen ice vomit icicles. Jeff helped me get a bunch of it. It's sweet, sweet angel. The car smelled like puke anytime it got hot for years.
Oh no.
Boy, oh boy. I remember being like, I'm so glad that this was my own car. I'm so glad that I didn't do this in somebody else's car.
Yeah, that would be you would owe someone a new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that it was my own car.
And you were with Jeff for 4.5 years after that.
So sweet.
Beautiful.
Poor boy.
Is he okay now? Is he
I think
married
so.
and
nope.
Oh no.
I think he's fine. We saw each other are we going into this?
What is happening? I think Chloe's malfunctioning. Are you okay?
Yeah. That's like a whole other podcast.
Okay.
I think he's fine.
A sobering podcast, I would say.
Yes. I think he's fine. We've seen each other. We saw each other like 6 months ago, and it did feel like closure, and I think everything is fine.
Well, that's good. And now you're with Jeff number 3.
And I'm with Jeff number 3.
And he's medium.
No, he's wonderful. I love him very much. Boy, oh boy.
Well, is there anything we missed? Is there anything you feel the need to get off your chest? Is anything you want Becky to know?
Oh, no. There's nothing I want Becky to know. Both of my parents still have, like, hitchhiking cross country, naked commune stories that I like just hear the edges of, and I'm like, I'm gonna put a fucking iPhone recorder in front of you and you're gonna tell me this whole goddamn story.
Yeah, I feel like with Becky there's nothing you could say that would shock her.
Yeah, she's pretty, truly it's like more like drugs and alcohol, and she doesn't give a shit about like weeds and shrooms and LSD. It's like on Something Good, when I said that I've done coke, she was like I know that was like to her, but like she had to be like, it's okay, she's an adult, she can manage. Yeah. I haven't done much. I've done 2 lines 2 separate times, like 1 line 2 separate times.
Yeah,
not
Becky,
even enough to get high.
She's a good kid. She probably researched it like crazy before she even did it.
Yeah.
So she knew it was gonna be safe.
Yep, it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. You got a good head, kid.
Thank you.
I'm saying that you're my peer. Kid, you got a good head.
Tell me about me, please.
Well, this was fun. I feel like Sean would be very proud of this podcast.
I hope.
Our dead neighbor.
I hope.
May he watch us from above.
Yes.
But the way you describe him, he might be down below. Or a rat. He's reincarnated into a rat.
He may have been. He's working his way back through the lifetimes.
Is that what happens?
That's not really.
Oh, this is for
the
another
idea
podcast.
is you learn lessons in life, and you if you don't learn your lesson, you come back to learn that same lesson in a new form.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great place to end. An ending that is not an ending. Huh?
An ending that will continue.
Perfect. Well,
This
thanks
has been Reincarnation with Chloe and Caitlin.
on NPR. Thanks for listening. Thanks for doing the pod.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm gonna go sit on our couch.
Yeah, I'm going to sit right next to you.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Good time girl, didn't do her a good time